Here's how I made $17,789 in profit last month. First things first, I'm going to jump into my P&L software, which we use, which is a tool called Seller Toolkit, and I'm going to show you the numbers where we're actually at as of last month. So let's do that right now, and I'll click on this, so previous month. Obviously, I'm going to be hiding some information because I don't want to share all my products, but I'll show you the numbers. So you can see right here, we've got total revenue of about 140,000. And then also as well, we've got total profits about 24,000. Now, just be aware, these are called gross profits. So this includes all things like prep and ship, but it doesn't include fixed costs. So that's where we get to the 17,000. And I'll go through them in a minute. Now you can see number of units sold and ROI and even margin at 17.43. Now my refund's kind of okay. It's a bit high at 4.29. I'd like to get that down below 3, but we're working on it. So these are the kind of high level numbers, and I'll go back to them, but let's show you actually what we mean by that 17,000. So I'm going to show you this section right now, which is called my profit and loss. And what does this talk about? It shows you after those sales, so the profit we made, gross profit, which is at 24,000 right here, you can see we've got costs we've got to pay. These are my fixed costs. So you can see that I'm paying like other FBA fees. So these are other costs I have to incur. So these are going to be things like FBA convenience fees, removal, storage, subscriptions, replacements, all the other fees, no problem. Also as well, profit on reimbursements, we do get money back from them. And then on top of that, salaries, we pay our VAs, and I have to talk about them in a minute. Also as well, interest, subscription, bank charges, and miscellaneous. So after we have generated sales of 140,000, we've done gross profits about 24,000, and then paid all our costs, we've got about 17,800 left. That's my net profit that I get to, if I want to, take home. But obviously we don't. We invest the bulk of it back in the business. Now, I want to take you onto a different part of the P&L software where we talk about actually the cost of goods, how much do we have to buy, and the way it operates. So let's jump into that now. Coming down to here, this is going to be showing the previous month's information. Now, what you can see quite simply is sales, so 140,000. You can also see profits of that 24,000. And again, that's gross profits, and that does include all our prep and ship. We do put the prep costs and the ship costs in each individual unit, and we calculate that. But then what also you can see here is things like sales tax. You can also see shipping tax, obviously when that happens. And then you can see cost of goods, and then you can see fees and ROI. Now, the one thing I want to show you about this is called the cost of goods. So what you can understand is for us to generate $140,000 in sales, we've had to buy and sell about $81,000 worth of stock. So kind of gives you a really good idea of to generate this much revenue and to generate this much profit, how much did we have to invest to buy and resell? So $81,000 is the number that you're looking at. Now, how do we do that? Obviously, I have capital that I've generated from other businesses, but also as well, we have credit, and we have credit through credit cards. We use Amex and we use other credit cards. And then on top of that as well, we also have lending providers. Right now, we've got a loan with Wayfarer, but we're looking at other options as well to enable us to cash flow this business. Now, I've talked about cost of goods. I want to talk about actual inventory and how much inventory we're holding and where we're holding it at, because I think this is really important for you to understand what do the numbers look like. So let's go down now and have a quick look at where our inventory is and how we distribute how much we're holding. Okay, so now we're looking at the inventory that I'm holding within Amazon's own warehouses. Now, just to be clear, this isn't the inventory for November. This is the inventory as of right now, which is around the 5th of December. And interesting enough, I have like no stock. This is a big problem we've got. We've recently changed over to a new repricer, which I really like, and we've just cleared a lot of stock out and actually sold at great margins. I'm really happy with it. But the problem comes is we're just running out of stock, and Amazon has the worst fulfillment times right now that I've ever seen. I'll talk you through the numbers that we're looking at and trying to explain what you're looking at. So what I'm looking at here is you've got all this information of like where your stock is, and then you've got units, number at cost, at resale, potential profit, and ROI. Obviously. Now, there's only really 3 numbers I look at. One, which is going to be available FBA. This is the stock I have available right now to sell on Amazon. And you can see it's about $25,000. And by the way, this is like nothing. During November, we were still holding nothing, which was still about 40,000. But still, we're just churning through that stock so fast. Now, the next one we look at is inbound. And you can see I've got like nothing inbound. I've got about 9,700 inbound, which again is crazy low. We've got a lot of stock being purchased, but we're waiting for the prep center to get it shipped. And that's that's going to take a little bit of time, but only about 10,000 coming in. And then the final one is called transfer. We've got about $50,000 in stock right now, which has already arrived in Amazon, but it's not yet available to buy. It's in what's known as FC transfer. So this is just telling me how much stock I've got moving around Amazon's warehouses right now before it becomes available. And usually we find this takes anywhere from 2 weeks on a good day to up to, we've even seen a month and a half for this stock to become available, which is the absolute pain why my business is really slow right now. The reason why I tell you these numbers is because when you're looking through your business, the key metric I'm looking at is how much profit do I generate per day based off the amount of available capital I have. Obviously, if I had like $1 million worth of cash or stock in Amazon, making 140,000 in sales and 25,000 in profits, that is going to be not that hard. But really trying to be efficient with our stock is going to be so important. So for me, I'm always buying very shallow, going very wide. And on top of that, we're pretty, I say aggressive. We've got a good margin. I'm happy with it. We're getting that stock moving quick. And you can see that through what's known as our sell-through rate. And I'll talk about that later. But this kind of gives you an idea of how much stock we're buying, how much stock we're selling, and we're going from there. So really just giving you an idea of the cycle of stock and what's happening. But a really good metric we try and look at is try and hold anything over 40,000 in Amazon, even 50, and we're good. But right now, we're in a really bad place because Amazon's just taking forever to ship stock. And right now, we're also just paid off a credit or a loan, which means we've run a lot lower on cash. Now, you might be watching this thinking, hey, this all sounds great, but like, it's okay for you. You're selling. You've been doing this for years. Well, actually, it's true. I have been doing it for years. I've been selling now for about 8 years. But what I will say to you is that it has not been easy. My first year in Amazon, selling in the UK, I lost £10,000 and I hired VAs, scaled too quick, didn't work. And actually, I didn't know how to manage VAs. And as a result, I lost 10,000 overall after we paid all the staff and paid myself. Even later on, I went on to scale my UK business. The year before, we actually did, I think it was about £3.4 million in sales in one single year. Still, I had to shut that down. Why? Because the profitability of the marketplace and the business model that we were running on just was not profitable anymore. And then on top of that, we also started in the USA. And that's been about 2-3 years now. And this is what I've been working on the side whilst working on FastTrackFBA. But if you think it's easy, it's not. It does take time and it becomes a real challenge. And that's a really important thing to consider. You're not going to get here overnight. And even having $81,000 worth of stock in Amazon is not an easy thing to achieve. Now, why do I share that with you? Because one of the biggest learnings that I've had on my entrepreneurial journey, not just in Amazon, but also as well building other businesses, is that getting help, being around like-minded individuals is the biggest cheat code that you can get. And if you want to know, right now, I run a community whereby we have many sellers who are sharing so much information and we're doing live weekly training. And you can see it right here in the Amazon FBA War Room, which is on the school platform. So we've got an amazing community where people are talking all the time, sharing their wins, what's going on. Now, on top of this, we also have our classroom. So we've got lots of training that you can access. So 0 to 10K in just 2 hours per day. You can also see weekly live training. So we do training sessions all the time. And you can see all the training sessions that we've done in the past and watch them back, even with downloads. Now, on top of that, we've got other useful information that's going to help you out. And then also as well, live Q&A sessions. We run 2 live Q&A sessions per week, and you can actually go back and watch them and you can join them as well. Now, I talked about the training, and we do the training every single Monday. You can see that right here, and that's 1 p.m. my time in Mexico City. And then also as well, we do the live Q&A sessions. So we do them on Wednesday and Thursday, where you can jump in, have your questions answered on a live call, and this is going to be really, really helpful. And we even do screen share, analyze deals, which is so helpful to support you. Now, this community is just a monthly subscription with no ongoing commitment, and you can join today for a free 7-day trial to check it out to see if it's going to be right for you. So if you're interested, have a look at the school community link down below, and obviously this should help you out if you want to get started or even scale your Amazon business and want to work closely with me and other sellers who are scaling their business as well. Now, the common question I always get asked is like, what does the journey look like to grow your business? Well, I've talked a little bit about before. We used to sell in the UK quite a lot. We actually did, I've probably done over $10 million in sales in my entire lifetime. But even in the UK, we did over £3 million, $4 million in a single year, and also as well grown the USA. Now, on top of that, I run FastTrackFBA and I run the school community. And if you don't know, I'm nomadic and I like to travel the world. I live now in Mexico City, but a lot of time I spend in Asia or in Europe. I really enjoy that as well. So I'm really, really busy. What does it look like for me in this journey? I've always thought about using teams, using leverage to build my business. And within my business right now, we have, interesting enough, the team's quite small. We have one purchasing manager who manages the entire business. They do deal analysis and buying of the products. They have my credit cards. And then on top of that, we have an admin VA who does all the administration, so accounts, finance, P&Ls. They manage all the stock with the warehouse and everything for me. And that's really great. And then on top of that, right now, we only have 2 sources. We normally try to run 3. Actually, we're doing pretty well. And one of my sources is actually on fire, so I'm super happy with them as well. So we have a really small team of 4, and we're just running that business across my right now, and they are sourcing products, analyzing them, buying them, and getting them sold. And this is what we're doing repeatedly over and over again. Now, to build this business, how did it start? I started quite simply by obviously, I learned how to source on Amazon. I knew what I was doing. We hired 2 VAs initially to build this business, and they were sourcing VAs to get products. I was buying myself, and then one of those sourcing VAs we promoted to a purchasing manager, trained them up, and then after that, we hired another 2 sourcing VAs. Also as well, we got an admin VA. Now, the journey's been a long journey. We've had a lot of people come and go, but that's generally been the structure. And recently, we had one VA leave, and we thought, right now, we're not in the position where we have that much cash, so we won't bother hiring another one because we've got some really great deals that we're buying, and it's just working for our business. Now, if you're looking to scale and you're thinking about hiring a virtual assistant, what can I recommend that's going to save you time? Getting our free job description and VA contract. This is something that we have used to hire over 750 virtual assistants for our clients. And right now you can get it for free by accessing it by looking at the link down in the description. It's just going to save you time and help you grow your business much, much quicker. Okay, so one of the questions you might be asking is about how did we actually get here? One of the key things that we've always focused on within our business, and I always recommend to everyone, is spend goals. Why is this important? Because if you think about it right now, November, we sold $81,000 worth of goods. So if you break it down into a 4-week month, that means I'd have to buy $20,000 worth of goods every single week, ship them in, obviously get them sold, and that would generate $81,000 worth of goods sold. And obviously that would generate the revenue of about $140,000, and then come back to the profits. Gross profits about $24,000, net 17. So this is one of the really important things. Now, within my business, we use a tool called the Ultimate Sourcing Sheet, something that I made. And I want to show you now some numbers, and we're going to go through literally what's known as the actual profits. So day by day, you can look at some numbers, and also I'll show you our top performing VAs so you can kind of get a feel for what that looks like. So let's jump on the computer now and have a quick look. So here we are into the VAP sheet, and I'm showing you half of it because the other half shows a breakdown of all my products I'm actually selling. And again, I'm not going to show you the actual products. I'm just going to give you a high level overview, which is what this does. So right now we are showing all of the whole business, and I basically selected just the data coming in for November. So we basically import this from our P&L software and we upload it to here, which is quite interesting. So it kind of gives you a bit of an idea. And if I kind of talk you through what you're looking at number of units sold, and this is actual, not the purchases, but it gives you a good idea what the estimated revenue is. So 32,000. This is what we thought we were going to sell the products for. And then actual revenue, 31,700. So not much variance. And then on top of that, actual profits, you can see like 600, 700, 700, 1,000, 600, 800, 750. And then also you can look at the revenue markup. And what we're really just trying to do is understand like what we're buying, what we're selling. And the whole point behind this sheet, by the way, is to help us understand when we've got VAs, how much profit do they actually generate? The reason why I say this is important, because what we can do is we can go through each individual VA. So right down here, if I go to VA 10, who is my top performing VA, and this is all now going to update and give you much like just for that one VA. So it'll kind of give you a good idea of what one VA can generate in a period of time. So you can see here, like revenue wise, 17,000, 3,600 in profits. This one, actually is 48,000 in sales, nearly 6,700 in profits. Here, 28,000 or 27,000 in sales, nearly about 5,000 in profits. And again, 28,000, 5,000 in profits. This is in 1 week, by the way. So it kind of gives you a good idea. Then also we've got a part week here as well. So we're not going to look at that one. But gross margins, you're looking at 17, 17, 17, 22 actually in the final week, which is pretty good. So kind of gives you a good idea of what the business overall does and then what the VAs do. Now, what I will say is that VA is doing really, really well. We spent a lot of time developing them, but just imagine this. You can pay someone for $500 per month, $3 per hour initially, and then add bonus schemes on top, which we provide, but that person's going to make you thousands of dollars in actual profits every single week, which is incredible. So which is why I love scaling this business, but also as well, building a team is a game game-changing part. Now, this sheet right now is called the FAS sheet, Forecasting Amazon Sales and Stock. And again, it's part of the USS. And this is a bit of a work in progress. I'm still tweaking the sheet as we want it to be, making some improvements to it. At a fundamental level, what does it do? It basically takes all of our purchases and helps us to understand how much we're spending, how much profit we're going to generate, and obviously where that profit's coming from. What you can kind of see right now, and we've kind of got December data, but I'll kind of go back to November. You can see right here, spend. Now, I'm in one VA right now. We've got a few VAs available to select. And again, I've only got 2, but we can have the numbers. So in December or in November, we spent 8,000. We spent a total of 9,000. We spent 20,000 there. And we spent 17,000 there. And the reason why for the change was a number of factors, but 1, cash flow, and 2, my purchasing manager was off. And Tom wasn't actually that good at buying. But most of your purchasing is done earlier. But you kind of get a good feel here. Like my VA would spend 18,000 or 19,000. We estimate they're going to be doing about 5,000 gross profit or in sales once we sell that, and you can see the target's about 5,000. So pretty much on track, gives you a really good idea. Now, the other thing we look at as well, you can see the average unit selling price. We've got a really high average unit selling price. That's one of the little hacks, by the way, that really just help you sell more. And then also as well, you can see spent on replenishments. Every single week, we actually buy a lot of the same products. Like we're buying the same stuff over and over again. Now, I will be honest, half my business is OA, half of it is wholesale, but we just know the products to buy. And when we talk about replenishment, what do I really mean? Any product that we can rebuy within a year. So we might buy it in January and buy it again in December. That's a replenishment. So we're looking at those type of products, not things that are going to be available straight away. So we buy a lot of products which have always been available. Let's talk about sourcing. One of the big hacks that we learn in sourcing or that we do is A, we focus on finding niches or categories which work for us. B, we focus on trying to rebuy. Now, replenishables. Now, a lot of the times they're not going to be in stock, but we can rebuy those products. What does that mean? It means it might be in stock every other month. So we're always checking the products again. And you can see that in my replenishables amount. And then on top of that, the other little hack that we did that made a really big difference was A, going for higher value items. That was really good. And then B, we actually focus on margin-based sourcing, not ROI. Most videos talk about 30% ROI, 40% ROI, not a problem. We don't do that. We do look at ROI. We'll never go below 20%. But what we do is actually focus on the margin. We want a 15% margin or above. And the reason why we look at that is because A, it naturally pushes you towards a higher value item. And then B, when you look at margin, it translates a lot easier and through to the P&L where you can get a really good ROI, but the margin's rubbish. And we see that a lot. So our sources, when we focused on margin, just naturally spent more, got higher value items, and we saw more cash profits. ROI, they kept going low value items, lower spends, and it sounded good, but we just didn't see it. So that was a top hack there. Now, the final thing I want to share with you is one kind of key metric that we looked at and really focused on. There's a really big saying called go wide, not deep. This means buy lots of products, not too much of any one of them. And especially with gatings, that's a big problem. But how do you measure the effectiveness of this? So for us, the one key metric we tracked on this to help us grow our business is called sell-through rate. Sell-through rate is Amazon's own internal metric, which tells you how fast you're selling a product in a 90-day period. So if you have a sell-through rate of 2, you've sold through your inventory on average 2 times in 90 days, which basically means you're selling through your inventory every 45 days. Now, most people will tell me that they're buying 30 days worth of stock, and that's what they're looking to sell. But if you look at your sell-through rate, and that's not 3, 90 divided by 3 equals 30 days, then you know that you're not actually buying and selling correctly. And I want to show you now my sell-through rate. You can have a look at it and then also explain what happened. And if you do want to know, in that school community, the war room, we did some really good training on how to approach this and how to get this number down. And at a fundamental level, what you're trying to do is turn your money as quickly as possible. What you might notice in my business, I have like no stock at all because we ship it in, it gets sold, ship in more, gets sold. We're not sitting on stock at all. So let's jump onto the Seller Central right now and have a look at my sell-through rate. So right now we're into Seller Central, and this is, by the way, part of your IPI score. So I'll show you quickly my IPI score here. So you can see like my IPI score is 651. And what we can do is look down at this sell-through rate. So sell-through rate, I'm kind of up at the high area, and you can see my historics are like 2.34. We started building it up, 2.9. We dipped down a bit, and now we're back up to like 3.17. And we're trying to keep it around the 3 mark. I actually have plans to take it even higher than that, but what I really want to do is A, really wide, and then B, get that product sold as quickly as possible, get the money, turn it, get invested in again, something else. So that is one of the key things that we looked at, along with margin sourcing, is also managing the sell-through rate, getting the stock sold quicker. Now, hopefully you enjoyed that video. And if you liked how I actually scaled it, and we talked about the capital, we talked about the metrics, and also how we use VAs. And if you're interested in hiring the VAs, I want to tell you the results that you should be looking at for getting someone for just $3 per hour. I'm going to drop a video around here right now, which is going to show you what you should be looking for and that step-by-step process to get scaling with VAs to get your business going. So check that out.